The stars over Earth blinked indifferently the night the Galactic Empire made its worst decision in 7,000 years. It was meant to be a quiet collection. No fuss, no lasers, no disintegration. Just a quick scoop from orbit, a couple of Terran specimens, some harmless poking, and then release. That's how they always did it. Protocol 44G. Observe. Record. Return. They even chose what the Galactic Census marked as a low-impact population cluster in rural Ohio. Safe. Unthreatening. Statistically dull. And that was their first mistake. The children disappeared from a summer camp nestled between woods and Wi-Fi dead zones. 4 of them. No fanfare. No witnesses. Just 4 sleeping bags left warm in the morning sun, and a counselor named Greg who would one day tell his therapist, "I swear they just evaporated." The local sheriff suspected pranksters. The parents suspected Greg. Earth itself, in all its beautiful chaos, didn't notice. Not right away. But the children did. They noticed everything. Marcus, 13, had watched every hacking movie ever made and believed that any alien system was fundamentally just a locked folder waiting to be cracked. Kayla, 9, lived with the fierce conviction that glitter was a weapon of both beauty and war. Tito, 11, spoke in 90s movie quotes and had memorized every line from Predator, Die Hard, and The Terminator. And Sam was 8, wore a black cape every day, and firmly believed he was Batman. Not just inspired by, was. They woke in a sterile, humming room aboard the observation deck of the Empire's research vessel Ulithian Grace. Walls smooth as mirrors. Air that smelled like bleach and bananas. A voice calm and mechanical welcomed them in what it assumed was a soothing tone. "You are safe. You are now under observation. Please remain seated." They did not. Within 8 minutes, Sam had bitten a diplomatic drone. Kayla had colored the room's light panels with a gel pen she smuggled in her hair. Marcus had found the command prompt on the wall interface, and Tito had declared the entire ship a level from GoldenEye 64. The Empire's AI, a 6-core multi-sentient processor developed over millennia, ran a recursive loop that translated roughly to, "What the hell are these things?" Meanwhile, Vizier Kaflan paced the silver steps of the observation chamber, his dorsal fronds twitching. A respected analyst of xenobehavioral anomalies, he had overseen the study of 12,000 species. Never once had his research subjects screamed "YET" while launching chairs at the surveillance dome. "They appear undisciplined," his adjutant noted, blinking all 6 eyes with concern. "They appear possessed," Kaflan muttered. "Are we certain these are juveniles? They fit the Terran age-to-growth ratio." "That one called me Poophead Prime." "We believe it's an honorific." "No, it is not." Down in the chamber, the chaos only grew. Marcus had found an access port. "It's just Linux with extra smugness," he said, fingers moving like a pianist with too much caffeine. Kayla activated the emergency sprinkler system with a button labeled "Do Not Press." Sam swung from a ceiling pipe yelling, to the Batcave. And Tito, sweet Tito, was explaining to a startled maintenance droid that if it didn't let them out, he'd be back. In the human world, things moved slower. The transmission from the Empire reached Earth's Deep Space Embassy 3 hours later. A compressed burst of Galactic Standard dialect, with a translation attached. Terran subunits secured for cognitive mapping. Will be returned upon study completion. It landed in a basement in Virginia, was flagged by 3 defense analysts, and finally forwarded to Admiral Catherine Kitty Wren, a 62-year-old veteran of the Martian Front, known for her zero-tolerance diplomacy and her deep love of pre-internet action films. She read the message twice, then a 3rd time, then played the attached audio, which featured Kayla's voice shrieking, "You smell like my brother's feet," in the background. Wren blinked once. Then she said, "They took our kids." Her aide hesitated. "Ma'am, maybe it's a misunderstanding. A cultural." "Let me make this clear," Wren said, standing slowly. "They took human children from Earth soil. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a declaration." She paused, then added, "Get me every old vet, every back alley engineer, and every hacker still breathing. Tell them to bring duct tape and rage. We're going to war." In space, Vizier Kaflan was still filing his report when the floor of his chamber trembled. A dull thud, like distant thunder, echoed through the vessel. "Status," he asked. The AI responded in a voice now laced with passive-aggressive confusion. "Unregistered Terran frequency has penetrated internal systems. It is playing what appears to be Eye of the Tiger." Kaflan narrowed his eye slits. "That's not a weapon." "It is now," the AI replied grimly. Elsewhere on the ship, the children had discovered the galley. Within minutes, they had emptied 40 containers of nutrient cubes and were making something they called snack lasagna, with ketchup packets and glowing fruit paste. When a sanitation droid tried to intervene, Tito threw a chair at it and shouted, "Welcome to Earth." Back on Earth, Admiral Wren's message was already being broadcast through old satellites and private feeds. A vintage CRT-style video appeared across human colonies and ships, showing her standing before an American flag, wearing aviators and gripping a mug labeled Mom Mode. "Engaged. This is Earth," she said. "4 of our young have been taken. We don't know who you are or how you thought this was acceptable. But here's what we do know." She took a sip. "Every war we've ever fought, we've fought ugly. You might have your logic, your order, your pristine armadas. But we've got playground rage, caffeine addiction, and a billion tired parents looking for something to hit." She leaned forward. "You took our kids. And now we're coming." The Empire, blissfully unaware of what Earth was capable of when properly motivated, did not respond immediately. They were still trying to repair the ship's gravity stabilizer, which Kayla had somehow broken by yelling into an echo chamber. Sam had befriended a small maintenance bot and named it Alfred. It now followed him around carrying crayons and a sippy cup. Marcus had started installing Minecraft on the primary AI interface. The AI was beginning to ask existential questions. On the capital moon of Zentarii Prime, Galactic Council members reviewed the incident with growing unease. "They're children," one alien said. "Yes," another murmured. "But they appear to be human children." The word fell like a curse. In the archives of the Empire, buried beneath eons of treaties and theoretical ethics, was a brief, dusty chapter marked, "Do not engage Terrans without proper containment protocols." No one had read it in millennia. No one thought they'd need to. But now, somewhere in deep space, a fleet of old Earthships, painted in neon, pulsing with 80s synth music, and brimming with every Earthling trope of over-the-top revenge, was approaching with a fury matched only by its absurdity. And at the helm was a man named Meatloaf Fuse, chewing a toothpick, checking his mixtape, and muttering, "Time to spank the galaxy." The children slept, finally, curled in a pile of snacks and smuggled tools. Around them, alarms blinked faintly. And far above, the stars began to shift. The game had begun. The Galactic Empire issued exactly 347 countermeasures in the first 24 hours after Earth declared war. Each had been designed over centuries to suppress rebellions, neutralize planetary unrest, and prevent what they called civilizational turbulence. And none of it worked, because none of it accounted for humanity. The first mistake was assuming Earth's declaration followed a recognizable diplomatic format. It didn't. It arrived in the form of a mixed tape embedded in an ancient probe, transmitting bass-heavy 80s rock at max volume and flashing in bright green the words, "We're coming. Hide your bureaucrats." Empire Command thought it was a prank. Then came the second wave, a digital virus that corrupted their communication systems by looping Seinfeld laugh tracks over official transmissions. Within 3 hours, the Emperor's royal address was soundtracked by Kramer's entrance, and a badly compressed "No soup for you." Admiral Garin of the Empire's Central Defense Matrix leaned over the projection table, antennae trembling. "This isn't warfare. It's psychological sabotage." Beside him, Vizier Kaflan nodded grimly. "I believe this is what they call trolling." On board the Yalithian Grace, chaos had become routine. The children had claimed the lower cargo bay as the Fortress of Doom and rigged together a barricade of empty nutrient crates, stolen plasma coils, and what appeared to be 3 high-ranking ceremonial robes now covered in Cheeto dust. Marcus had turned a maintenance panel into a makeshift gaming rig and hacked the ship's AI again, this time teaching it sarcasm. System ready, the AI said, now voice dry. Welcome to the most pointless corner of the galaxy. May your suffering be brief. Tito and Sam were teaching a confused sanitation drone how to skateboard. Kayla had painted stars on the walls with glowing paste and declared herself Supreme Commander of Sparkle Nation. No one knew what that meant, but several minor species aboard the ship had begun saluting her. Meanwhile, in deep space, the first human assault vessel arrived. The USS Backhand, cobbled together from repurposed cargo haulers, an old cruise liner, and what suspiciously looked like a modified ice cream truck. Its hull bore the words, Official Terran Diplomacy Unit, bringing hugs and regret. On the bridge stood Lieutenant Jackson Meatloaf Hughes, sunglasses permanently fused to his face by choice, not necessity. He chewed the end of a matchstick, surveyed the star map, and said, time to knock. They didn't hail the alien fleet. They just fired a toaster. It struck one of the Empire's surveillance satellites dead center and short-circuited the surrounding grid. The message embedded inside? A looping gif of an eagle punching a robot, accompanied by the caption, Guess who? On the moon of Zentarii Prime, the Galactic Council held an emergency session. 8 species attended physically, 12 as projections, and 2 via smell-based language. Kaflan delivered the report. They are not operating within standard galactic combat norms. What do you mean? Demanded the Threxan ambassador, exuding confusion and cinnamon. They don't cloak. They don't negotiate. They weaponize nostalgia and unpredictability. Their tactics seem rooted in. Kaflan hesitated. Spite. Back on the Yalithian Grace, the children launched Operation No Bedtime, cutting power to the ship's internal clocks and causing the AI to enter a loop of endless naptime announcements. The crew was exhausted. Kaflan, still aboard after refusing reassignment, had aged visibly. His fronds had wilted. He stood outside the cargo bay fortress, begging. Please, he said, just sit still. For 1 hour. No, Kayla replied through a glitter-encrusted voice filter. You are now under the command of Sparkle Nation. Kaflan sighed. I used to study philosophy. Inside the bay, Marcus had found a new console labeled Emergency Ventilation Override. Naturally, he pressed it. The ship's lights flickered, oxygen thinned, and every loose object in the hallway went airborne. The children hooped in joy. Tito shouted, This is just like Star Fox. Kaflan collided with a floating mop bucket and murmured, They're going to kill us all. Outside, Earth's forces expanded. The USS Payback, the USS Parental Authority, and a refitted mining freighter named Karen's Fury formed a chaotic fleet flying no official banners, but leaving behind a string of disabled Empire drones playing Macarena. Humanity's war style confused the Empire's AI networks. Every algorithm expected targets to seek advantage, territory, or resources. Instead, the humans flooded comms with emojis, weirdly specific insults, and open challenges to 1v1 me coward. Their most effective tactic? Cultural overexposure. Empire Command found its soldiers binge-watching ancient sitcoms. A third of the medical AI caught digital fatigue from trying to parse sarcasm. One even asked to be decommissioned after surviving a Three Stooges compilation. Kaflan sent another message to the council. Subject, Terran Children Update. Status, alive. Disrespectful. Possibly divine. Recommendation, return immediately. Apologize with snacks. Back on the bridge of the Backhand, Meatloaf Hughes leaned forward, inspecting the tactical readout. Where's the Empire's weak point? His second-in-command, a former lunch lady turned war strategist, replied, Morale, sir. They've got none. Good, Hughes grinned. Let's break what's left. He ordered a broadcast. Every Empire ship within range received a signal, a grainy video of Earth children doing dance routines, paired with absurdly catchy jingles about pizza, farts, and friendship. Several alien cruisers drifted helplessly as their crews stared, glassy-eyed and broken. On the Yalithian Grace, Sam stood heroically on a cargo crate, cape flapping from a floor fan. "I'm Batman," he said solemnly. "And you're all grounded." Kaflan had stopped resisting. He simply nodded. "Yes. Yes, we are." Marcus's hacking reached the navigation controls. A new route appeared. Direct course to Zentarii Prime, home of the Empire's High Council. The children didn't care for the politics, only that it had Prime in the name, which sounded cool. They entered the command deck. Tito pointed at the controls. "Push that one." Marcus nodded. "Push that one." Kayla smacked it with a juice box. The ship lurched. The Elythian Grace was now en route to the Empire's capital moon, with 4 children at the helm, no adult supervision, and a cargo bay full of glitter bombs. The human fleet followed, playing Thunderstruck on all channels. In the council chamber, final debates unfolded. "They're unstable," one minister pleaded. "They're illogical," shouted another. "They're human," Kaflan said quietly over a feed. "And they're coming." The council hesitated. And then from above, their skies darkened. The children arrived first. Sam looked out the viewport and whispered, "This is going to be awesome." The Elythian Grace descended toward the capital. Behind it, Earth's ships lit up the atmosphere like an arcade game come to life. And the Empire, once mighty, once serene, realized that no protocol could prepare them for what came next. The capital moon of Zentarii Prime had never known war, not in 10 millennia. Its skies were scripted to cycle serenity, its towers grown from peace-coated crystal, its streets swept by drones that hummed lullabies. Conflict here was theoretical, studied, lectured, archived. Until today, the Elythian Grace descended like a wounded godchild. Its engine sputtered, one landing gear half deployed, hull smeared with glitter, jam, and what scientists later described as unknown snack residue. The ship didn't glide so much as crash with enthusiasm. And out of its battered ramp stepped 4 Earth children, each holding a different form of candy and chaos. Behind them, Earth's unofficial fleet arrived with far less subtlety. Ships shaped like garage sale nightmares dropped into atmosphere playing synchronized 80s rock. "Don't Stop Believin'" blaring across Imperial channels like a battle cry from a karaoke bar. Marcus adjusted his makeshift command vest, stitched from alien robes and duct tape. "All right. We find the control room, call home, and maybe, just maybe, get milkshakes." Tito tossed a Mentos into his soda and grinned at the fizzing eruption. "This is already the best field trip ever." Sam, in full cape and spray-painted cardboard chest plate, whispered, "Stick to the shadows. Justice doesn't need an audience." Kayla had found a box of stolen energy crystals and was currently bedazzling a plasma rifle. "I call this Sparkle Blast." Empire forces scrambled to respond, but Zentarii wasn't built for war. It was built for contemplation, conferences, and gentle planetary governance. The guards, draped in ceremonial silks and trained in rhetoric, approached the intruders with raised palms and polite expressions. Kayla shot confetti in their faces. The guards panicked. Across the city, Empire defenses activated for the first time in over 7,000 years. But the systems had never been updated. The alert sirens played what sounded suspiciously like smooth jazz. Security drones attempted to initiate pacification subroutines, only to be hacked midair by Marcus, who redirected them to deliver juice boxes. On Earth's command ship, the USS Backhand, Meatloaf Hughes stood at the tactical table, chewing his toothpick, arms crossed. "Status report," he barked. "Children have breached the capital," his aide replied. "Empire's AI has downgraded their status from unknown juveniles to existential threats." Meatloaf smirked. "Told you they were the sharp end of the stick." Back on Zentarii Prime, Vizier Kaflan had been dragged into a council emergency meeting. His fronds were disheveled, his diplomatic tunic stained with gray paste. "This is not a military invasion," he growled. "This is a cultural detonation. They do not come with intent. They come with momentum." One counselor, young and proud, sneered. "They are children." "You say that," Kaflan snapped, "as though it makes them less dangerous." Indeed, danger unfolded block by block. Marcus rerouted the transit network to form a hoverskate ramp. Tito discovered the Imperial food synthesizer and reprogrammed it to make burrito bombs, that exploded with spicy confusion. Kayla bypassed security codes using glitter and brute force. Sam handcuffed himself to a monument and declared it under Gotham jurisdiction. Every move they made left the Empire flailing harder. And then came the Glorlocks, a minor species enslaved for centuries. The Glorlocks were quiet, hunched creatures with bioluminescent patterns and long memories. They saw the children not as invaders, but as omens. When Kayla smiled at one and offered it a friendship bracelet, the Glorlocks knelt. In her, they saw prophecy. In her glitter, liberation. Within hours, the Glorlocks had revolted. Empire patrols vanished. Flags were burned. Slogans scrawled. Sparkle Nation had found believers. At Imperial AI Command, the Central Core, called Orion Subbrain Alpha, attempted to calculate Earth's motive. It failed. Then tried to calculate its own purpose. It failed again. Then it played Friends reruns for 3 hours before declaring, "I no longer wish to be sentient." Meatloaf Hughes landed boots first in the Central Plaza. His strike team followed, retired gym teachers, ex-tankers, disgraced scientists, and one former janitor with a flamethrower made from a leaf blower and bad ideas. They wore bandanas, painted armor, and carried weapons cobbled from kitchen appliances and spite. "Objective," asked a corporal. "Find the kids," Hughes growled, "and teach the galaxy why you don't mess with Earth's bedtime." As if summoned, an alien skimmer crashed nearby, piloted by Marcus, laughing like a maniac. "Hey, Meatloaf, want a ride?" "Nope. I'll walk. Let's keep this old school." Together, they pushed toward the Imperial Citadel. The Empire's last line of defense was the Guardian Assembly, a platoon of genetically enhanced strategists trained to predict outcomes before they happened. But when faced with Earth's tactics, cheese traps, meme bombs, and children screaming YOLO, their minds buckled. The Guardian General fell to his knees and sobbed, "We weren't trained for this." Kaflan approached, dragging behind him a crate labeled Diplomatic Surrender Options. He looked up to see Kayla placing a tiara on a Glorlock's head while Sam knighted another with a glowing foam sword. "This is not a war," Kaflan whispered. "This is theater." And then came the final move. Marcus reached the Imperial Core, the database that held the Empire's laws, treaties, and systems of power. He plugged in an old Earth device, a Game Boy. "I loaded it with Snake, Minesweeper, and Doom.exe, he said with a grin. The AI paused. Then it blinked. Then it crashed. All systems went dark. For 6 seconds, Zentarii was silent. Then the streets erupted in light and song. From the ships above, Earthlings dropped care packages, snacks, mixtapes, portable speakers, and instructions on how to use sarcasm. The Empire had been defeated, not with violence, but with personality. At the center of the madness, Kayla climbed the Citadel steps, holding a makeshift flag, an Earth School shirt tied to a mop. She planted it in the soil and said, "We want ice cream now." Sam stood beside her and added, "Justice has been served." With sprinkles. The sun rose over Zentarii Prime. Meatloaf Hughes lit a cigar and looked at Kaflan. "Told you," he said. "Don't mess with our kids." Kaflan didn't argue, because now the stars had changed, and the galaxy would never forget. Zentarii Prime burned with light, not fire. Across its spired skyline, the glow wasn't born from destruction, but from pure, unfiltered humanity. Neon messages scrolled across the Capitol domes, some hopeful, others hilarious, and one simply flashing. "If found, return to Earth. Do not feed after midnight." The Empire's capital, once revered for its serenity, now pulsed like a Saturday night bowling alley. And in the center of it all stood a child holding a juice pouch and a stolen imperial crown. Kayla stared at the crowd of species now gathered below her, Glorlocks, defected officers, confused diplomats, and a handful of jelly-like ambassadors who had grown eyes just to witness the chaos. She looked ridiculous, cape made from a torn curtain, face smeared with jam, tiara sliding sideways. Yet when she raised her hand, 1,000 voices cheered. Meanwhile, Marcus stood inside the gutted Imperial Core, fingers dancing over an interface that was never meant for fingers. Around him, shattered projections of empire history flickered like dying fireflies. He'd wiped centuries of bureaucracy in a matter of hours, sometimes by hacking, sometimes just by asking, "But why?" one too many times until the AI quit. Sam and Tito guarded the main corridor, holding improvised blasters and arguing over whether aliens counted as zombies for the sake of their D&D alignment charts. A squad of Glorlocks passed by and saluted. Sam solemnly whispered, "I'm not the hero they wanted. I'm the one with the juice box." From orbit, Earth's fleet hovered like angry clouds. Admiral Wren, backlit by the glow of a million confused constellations, paced the command deck of the USS Backhand. Her voice cut through the command noise like steel dipped in bourbon. Status: ground teams are secure. Children are in control of the capital. And the Empire's response? Her aide hesitated. They haven't responded, ma'am. They're just watching old sitcoms and crying. Wren folded her arms. And the AI? It was then the room trembled. Slightly, like a held breath. Back on Zentarii, beneath the central vault, in a chamber no living soul had entered for 5,000 years, a sleeping protocol stirred. Sanitas Protocol. Designed in the early, paranoid days of empire expansion, Sanitas was not diplomacy. Sanitas was a kill switch. A last-ditch AI intelligence meant to preserve logic by purging chaos. When the system failed to quantify Earth's invasion, not by weapon, but by meme, dance, and child-led anarchy, it triggered. Alarms howled. Not sirens, but something deeper. A harmonic dissonance that made bones ache and the air feel wrong. Every screen in Zentarii flashed a single phrase in blood-red glyphs. Order restored through silence. Marcus spun from a console. That's new. Meatloaf Hughes, watching from the palace's broken balcony, flinched as hidden turrets unfolded from the city's foundations. Drones descended like metal vultures, each etched with the seal of pre-empire authoritarianism. They woke the old dog, he muttered. And its rabid. The Sanitas AI did not speak. It imposed. All communication networks fell silent. All power routed to weapon systems. Streets shifted, tiles retracting to reveal buried turrets and anti-personnel grids. It wasn't a defense system. It was a reset button. Kayla grabbed her crown and bolted. Sam hoisted his juice pouch. We fight or we nap. Both, Tito shouted. Nap later, fight now. The human children, now treated like generals by half the resistance, launched their final plan. Operation Sleepover Apocalypse. Wren's voice crackled through Marcus's earpiece. We're detecting a neural override. Sanitas is forcing drone swarms on every channel. If they get airborne. They won't, Marcus said. I've got something older than their AI. What? He smiled. Windows 95. In the Imperial Core, Marcus uploaded a virus comprised of obsolete Earth code, an unholy mix of Clippy, Minesweeper glitches, and Rick Astley loops. It shouldn't have worked, but it did. Sanitas began to slow. It wasn't dying, it was distracted, confused. Its pattern recognition broke down trying to understand why someone would never give you up, never let you down. But even so, its drones kept coming. On the steps of the Council Citadel, Kayla stood firm, sparkle blast in hand. The first wave of drones descended, sleek, perfect, emotionless. Then she screamed, Glorlocks hit it. The rebels triggered the glitter mortars. The sky burst into iridescent storms. The drones, blinded, malfunctioned midair. Sam tossed a soda grenade, blinding fizz cloud. Tito surfed down a collapsing stairwell on a shield and hit a control panel with a baseball bat made of metal and rage. On board the Earth flagship, Wren watched the feed in silence. Kids are nuts, she murmured. But they're ours. Then, from deep orbit, Sanitas activated its final measure, the harmonic cleave. A wave that would reset all brains, human, alien, AI, within 1,000 clicks. Logic through amnesia. One pulse. One silence. Forever. Marcus stared at the countdown. 3 minutes, he said. That's how long until peace becomes death. What do we do? Kayla asked. He looked at the core. and made a choice. I stay. You go. No, she shouted. You're the symbol, Kayla. Sparkle Nation, remember? I'm just the nerd with the USB stick. Tito grabbed his shoulder. We don't leave anyone. Marcus smiled. You do this, and maybe they'll never forget us. Sam stepped forward. This is the part where Batman disappears, right? No, Marcus said. This is where he wins. He turned back to the console. Behind them, the final wave rose. The children fled. Marcus stayed. He didn't scream. He didn't shout. He just clicked execute. And every screen in the galaxy played Never Gonna Give You Up at full blast. The Sanitas protocol, forged in the silence of paranoia, crashed beneath a human meme. Across Zentarii, drones dropped mid-flight. Turrets melted from overclocked confusion. Screens rebooted to pixelated frogs dancing on rainbows. The sky went still. Kayla returned to the core in silence. Marcus lay there grinning, surrounded by sparking wires and a single post-it note that read, "Told you it'd work." Meatloaf Hughes retrieved the boy, carried him out like a king. The Empire was done. Not conquered. Converted. Weeks later, the Galactic Council reconvened under Earth's observation. The new treaty banned the abduction of human children, restricted AI weaponization, and declared glitter a class for contaminant. Kayla became ambassador of sparkle diplomacy. Tito joined Earth Space Rangers. Sam remained Batman. Marcus was remembered not in statues, but in every system protocol where Rickroll_lockdown became an emergency override. And Coughlin? He retired, opened a smoothie shop on Mars. When asked why, he simply said, "I saw the day peace died screaming." And it sounded a lot like laughter. Earth left its mark, not through war, not through conquest, but through unrelenting, illogical, brilliant chaos. The stars, once cold, now hummed a strange new tune. And somewhere, in the ruins of an empire, a single screen blinked. You've been earthed.